Cool. Good morning, everyone. I am now drinking homemade cold brew with vanilla soy milk. It is Friday morning and I have reached a realization, and I've known it for a while, but I've been putting it off. I'm ready to be honest. Every morning, first thing I do is check social media. Then sometimes I'll get out of bed, grab my laptop, and then I'll just watch YouTube, which is more social media, really. This week in particular has been very overwhelming, and so to cope with that, I have been on social media a lot, both in the morning, at night, and even throughout the day. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this, which is why I'm talking about it. So today I want to make a conscious effort to turn to my Bible rather than social media. I can't tell you how much of a difference it makes to start off your day in the Word. I used to do this regularly and I've just been falling off track. It should always be the priority, right? No matter how many different things we have going on, it's very interesting that the Bible and our relationship with Christ is the first thing that starts to lack when things get too much, when instead He should be the one that we're going to when things get tough. Like, we should be pressing into Him even more. Lately, the whole reason that I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed is because, again, I am feeling the weight of the corporate world, and I'm just feeling like it's not for me. I've just really been thinking about what my purpose is and trying to go to God with that. Then I read something on Instagram that said, God is going to lead you, encourage you, show you the next step, whereas the enemy is going to make you obsess over something. He is going to discourage you. And those are the feelings I was feeling. So once I realized that I'm giving in to the enemy rather than leaning into God, I now realized how much I need to be reading my Bible. Yesterday, before class, I just read a couple church notes. I started there. And when I tell you, my mood changed so much. So I want to share those notes with you, just in case you are going through something, you're in a situation that you feel stuck in, or you feel confused about, or you don't like your job. Maybe it's the same thing, These church notes are from August 6th of last year, and it's called God Has a Plan. So the theme is Genesis chapter 37. It talks about the story of Joseph, and if you didn't know Joseph, he had a dream. He wanted something big for himself. He felt this sense of purpose, but his family just saw him as a dreamer, and they kind of made fun of him. Then he ends up in prison. This is a very sped up version, but he just feels defeated, It's like, now he's in prison. What a mess. During the time he was in prison, God was equipping him and preparing him to then become king. Yeah, huge turnaround. Just want to give you some background on why we were talking about God has a plan. Number one, God's plan for me is great. 1 Corinthians 2:9, however, as it is written, what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love Him. So God is preparing something great for those who are being obedient to Him and pressing into Him. We just might not see it right now because it's going to be on His time. It's not going to be on our time. And also, when we're in a storm, He wants us to be learning and growing during that time. If we avoid it by laying down on social media and say, I don't want this storm, get it away from me, how are we going to be trusted with more? If we can't even handle the situation we're in now, God's not going to give us more. If it isn't great, God isn't done. This is my favorite one, because if it's not great yet, He's not done. He's still working. God's great goal for your life isn't fame, it's fruit. God's plan for me includes pain. John 16:33. I've told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world, you will have trouble. You will have trouble. Not if, you will have trouble. But take heart, I have overcome the world. God doesn't cause your pain, but He does use it for a greater purpose. God's plan for me takes time. God's plan for me isn't about me. That's a big one, right? And then at the bottom, the ultimate question, are you submitted to God's plan? Right now, I might not know what's best for me. I might be wanting to just leave. I might be feeling impatient and obsessing and all of the feelings, but there's a reason why God's revealing all of this to me in my 20s. So for me to be wrestling with this and thinking about this now, I'm going to press in to God and see what He wants me to do. And that will be what I do. Second thing is I need to get into my Bible in the morning. I do. I struggled reading the Bible because I'm so methodical and systematic. And I feel like if I start a book in the Bible, I need to finish that book. And if I don't have the dedicated amount of time to read the next chapter right now and remember and take notes, then I just can't do it at all. And that is not true. You can open any page of the Bible and start reading, and it might be the exact word God wanted you to hear that day. I wanted to read all of the New Testament before I went into the Old, but back in December, I started reading Job in the Old Testament, and I didn't know why, because that book was about suffering. And then I received tragic news a few days later, and then I understood why I was in the book of Job, because God is so cool and we just don't understand at the time, and then when we see it, it's like, whoa. So now I'm in Exodus, and that's because my church is talking about the 10 Commandments, and I've learned that only 14% of Christians know the 10 Commandments. Is that not crazy? So I really wanted to focus on Exodus, and I started with that chapter 20. I didn't start with chapter 1. I was like, all right, we're gonna read about the 10 Commandments. That's interesting. I want to know. I want to learn. I'm excited. I started reading 20, 21, 22, and although Exodus is in the Old Testament, and the Old Testament is a little harder for people to read sometimes, it's pretty straightforward. It's a lot about the laws, Jewish law, and that's, again, the more towards the end of the book. But now I'm going to read Exodus chapter 1. I'm ready to start off the book. So here's day 1 to saying no to social media in the morning and yes to the word. If you guys wake up and you have your phone right next to your bed and you scroll on social media the second you wake up, try to sleep with your phone away from your bed and with your Bible next to you. All right, I'm gonna get my highlighter and get to reading. Alright, I wanted to film at the park for you guys because this is 2 minutes walking from my house. And it's just so pretty. I mean, I feel like I don't spend enough time here for how close it is. So, yeah. As you saw, I did a little bit of Bible reading. I got a little bit of background about the Israelites in Egypt and how they were multiplying and how the Egyptians tried to stop them and have the midwives not let sons be born, basically kill sons, Israelite sons that are born. But the midwives did not listen, and God provided them with homes. They feared the Lord and he provided. So that's my encouragement for this morning. As you saw, I walked to the park. That park is a 2-minute walk from my house. I think that is so cool. It is just like nestled in the middle of our neighborhood and it's pretty big. Today I just did like a little loop, which is why I didn't really like film there. I just wanted to get some fresh air before I go to the thrift store, which is what I'm gonna do now. But first, I wanted to show you I got my ring back finally. As you may or may not know, I got engaged a few weeks ago and my ring was half a size too big, so we got it resized and it is officially back. Thrilled to have my ring back. The reason I'm going to the thrift store today is not for clothes, but is actually for like containers to put like grains and nuts and seeds in. So I've been using like the Aldi marinara jars for my seeds, but we are getting a lot of fruit flies around our compost. So then we bought like a big jar for putting our compost stuff in, you know, just like as an in-between before we take it outside to our actual compost. So we needed something with a lid, which we ended up getting at Target for like $22. And it just kind of like crushed my soul because I've been thrifting. Then a smaller one for 20 bucks and I was like, 2 containers for $40 or over $40 was a lot. So I might not even buy anything from the thrift store. It just sparked my curiosity to see if there are containers like that for the kitchen that are cheap. That's all I want to know. And I want to get out of the house because the last few days I've just been not in the best mindset. It is that time of the month, but I don't like to use that as an excuse anymore. I don't want the enemy to see that as a way in, that every month I'm like, it's getting to that time of the month. I'm irritable, I'm mad, I can't control it, I don't want to pray. When I start speaking those things, it just gives the enemy a foothold, right? So today I just wanted to get outside, get some fresh air. I do need to get gas, so I figured I'll do that too. So first stop, Wawa, second stop, red, white, and blue. Alright guys, I just got out of the thrift store, and even though I looked at a couple different containers, I didn't like any enough to buy them. I almost bought that white one with the blue on it, but I didn't really need it. But I did end up buying 2 clothing items. I'm starting to get obsessed with buying sweaters, and we're going into the warmer months, but you know what? I am replacing my sweater collection, so I see it that way. And for me, sweaters are really the only things I can buy without trying on sweaters and jackets. So that's why I tend to get those things at the thrift store. But I got 2 things. The first one is great. This is just a plain pink crew neck sweater. I'll show you better when I get home, but it is Everlane and it is 100% organic cotton, and I got this for $15, which I think is so cool because Everlane is pretty expensive. I don't own anything from them, but I've been on their site many times. I just can't pull the plug with their prices, so that was really cool. And then this brand I never heard of, Blue and Gray. I just looked it up though. It looks like it's like a Loft brand, like Loft sells it, and green tags were 50% off, so I got this for like $6.50, which is so cool. And this is just a little sweater too, but this one has like a v-neck, and I thought that made it a little different and a little pretty, and I love this color. Part of me feeling happier makes me want to wear happier colors. I'm starting to kind of get over the whole neutral thing, which I know during the fall it'll come right back and I will love my browns, but right now I'm just playing around with color, and I spent $23 on 2 sweaters. I think that's pretty good, and I already know which ones I'm going to replace them with. I'm doing out with the old, in with the new. I'm donating the old or putting them on Poshmark, but typically I just go ahead and donate them. But it is so hot in here, I need to turn my car on. I work at 11 on Fridays and it is 10:45, so I'll be home like right before 11. Cool, I'll see you guys in a while. I'm back home from the thrift store, and I thought a better way to show you these would be to just try them on. I'm hoping this one is not cropped. It's definitely very wide, but I am gonna wear it with like very high-rise leggings. This is just more for lounging around the house anyway, whereas the pink one I know will fit pretty well. So this is the pink one. Pretty basic, pretty normal, but very comfortable. I feel like this is something that most people just have, you know, like comfortable sweatshirts and things, but I never really did have like a lot of sweatshirt kind of things, just a lot of t-shirts and leggings. This line here kind of gives it a more sporty look, which I think is kind of cool. I didn't even notice the little E for Everlane, so that's kind of a cute touch, but let's try this one on. I don't know how I feel about this one now that it's on. I like it. It's definitely a large. I think it might be a little bit too big, but I don't mind it. For $6, it is good for just, you know, being at home and stuff. And I do spend a lot of time at home now, and a lot of my clothes are more for, you know, being out. So there's that. And I also got this on Poshmark recently that I'm going to wear a lot in the fall. I do go to Ohio every few months to visit my fiance's family, so that is part of the reason I buy a lot of winter clothes, because I'm like, ooh, I could wear this to Ohio. But anyway, we don't need a ton of clothes. I am really just trying to get rid of the things that I don't feel like honor the Lord. I have changed a ton. So right now I'm just working on slowly changing the wardrobe, but doing it in a cost-effective way and taking your time. I mean, you know, have fun with it. I've had this conviction of modesty for almost a year now, and now is really when I'm starting to buy things, since I'm realizing how affordable it can actually be. But that is all I got for this video. Don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't already. It'll mean so much to me. Let me know what you want to see next. I would love to hear from you in the comments, and I'll see you next time with another video. Bye.